Yes, good afternoon, students. Please join for your economics class. Wait for some 1 or 2 minutes so that the other students can come. Good afternoon, Puneet and Shivam. Wait for some time being so that other students come. Okay. Yes. Good afternoon, Khushbu. Yes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Saiba. Okay. Let's start with our class today's. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, up till yesterday, you have done about your four goals of the 5 year plan of planning commission. You have done the four goals. What are the goals now? And the explanation of the goals you have heard. Today we will start with how these goals are working, okay, in the agricultural sector, industrial sector, and foreign trade. We will see step by step how the agricultural sector has achieved these four goals, how the industrial sector has achieved these goals, and foreign trade also the same thing. So one by one we will start. First of all is your agriculture. Okay, now what was happened previous during the British situation or colonial period? Agricultural sector was completely demolished by the British rule. As you know, there was neither growth nor equity in this sector. So first we need to pinpoint or point out the problems of this sector, and then we can solve those problems to attain four goals of 5 year plan. So now government is taking some steps to improve the condition of agricultural sector. Now before to improve the condition of agricultural sector or the situation of agricultural sector, first we need to find out what are the problems are there in this agricultural sector. So here I have listed out the problems. First is the low productivity. So first and the foremost problem the agricultural sector was facing was the low productivity. Second was its disguised unemployment. Third, high dependency on rainfall. Fourth, subsistence farming. Fifth, outdated technology. And sixth, conflicts between tenants and landlords. So one at a time we will see what are these problems are all about. Then we will come for to solvation portion or solution portion. Okay, coming back to your book, low productivity. Indian agricultural sector was known for its low productivity. Lack of knowledge was responsible for stagnation in this sector. Now the foremost problem was lack of knowledge. Since the knowledge of the farmers or the people who are working in the agricultural sector are lacking in the knowledge, or literacy rate was very low, so that there was a stagnation in this sector. The sector was not improving, and as a result there is low productivity. The farmers, since they're illiterate, they cannot able to use high technology. They're poor also, one reason. Another reason is poor. Okay, so for these all reason, the productivity hampers and it was low. Okay, now comes the second part of the point, disguised unemployment. What is it telling? It refers to a state in which more people are engaged in work than are really needed. There was very high incidence of disguised unemployment in the sector during 1950 and 1990. Disguised unemployment means, students, the if the land requires minimum 10 workers, the land is overcrowded with more than 10 workers. This is disguised unemployment. When any area or region is overcrowded with a large amount of workers, that much workers are not needed for that particular region to cultivate, but people are engaged. Now why people are engaged or overcrowding this agricultural sector? Because no other profession or occupation left in hand to them, because they are illiterate, so they cannot able to work in other service sector. The industries, what happened to the industries? There are very less industries, so people cannot able to work there. There are no machines, equipment, or since they are illiterate, they cannot able to use high improved version of machines, etc. All those things, all this thing forces the farmers or the workers or the Indians to overcrowd the agricultural sector, the only last sector left in their hand, which is the agricultural sector. So disguised unemployment was very much during 1950 to 1990, this 40 years. Next problem, high dependency on rainfall. Due to poor agricultural techniques, farmers depended largely on rainfall. There was minimum growth of this sector in the year that receives the least rainfall. Now, nowadays irrigation facilities are there. High improved pumps, motors are there, which help water or underground water, which help the agricultural land with large amount of underground water. Nowadays the farmers does not face problem related to water, but previous days, since there was no such facility, the farmers has to wait for rainfall, and the crops are also requires high rainfall or water. The area which is getting heavy rainfall, okay, the production is good, but the area if there is no rainfall, there is no production. So highly dependency on rainfall is also a problem for the farmers. Next, subsistence farming. It is the practice of growing crops only for one's own use without any surplus for trade. There was also very high incidence of subsistence. So what is subsistence farming? The farming which is meant for own only, the farming which is not meant for trade, not meant for market. Previously farmers are just farming for their own stomach, okay, not for that, okay, we will sell it in the market, okay, we will put it those goods or crops into trade. No, they were just being concentrated about their stomach. Whatever we will produce, we will use it for our eating purpose, consuming purpose. Now when the country or the sector does not come or participate in trade, does not participate in market, that country or that sector will not improve in any sense. So this participating in trade and agriculture, trade and market is very much needed. Okay, so but that time it was not there. Only subsistence farming, producing for their own self. This is also a problem. Next, outdated technology. As of all, you know very nicely, at that time the technology is so obsolete that they cannot able to work properly. For example, harvesting machines nowadays, improved harvesting machines has been came up, and the harvesting has been done very nicely nowadays in this current situation, in this current year, or in this coming this 20th century. But in previous time, or after, immediately after the independence, since the agricultural sector was very much bad, there was no such harvesting machines to harvest properly. It has been done by hand only, and it is very much, very hard to complete that work. And at last, conflicts between tenants and landlords. Before, you know that land are not meant for farmers. The zamindars used to capture the lands, and there was continuous conflict, arguments for and against between the tenants. Tenants mean the farmers or the workers, and the landlords. And landlords are those, indirectly they are telling about the zamindars. Now, after independence, zamindar was not there. You can ask me, sir, after independence there was no zamindars. Then why zamindar is coming yet? But students, in some areas, yet the right of zamindars or the power of zamindars has gone. Okay, but in mind, the zamindars think that they are the zamindars, and this continued dominating irrespective of British has gone. Okay, they know that British has gone, but still they continue with their ruling session. And since the farmers, the tenants are very much weak in financial matter, you can say, in education, you can say, in all side they are weak, they cannot able to cope up with those landlord, and as a result the conflict was there between these two people. Now, after hearing all these policies, we will now implement some policies to bring growth in agriculture. Once upon I will tell, after pinpointing out these problems of agricultural sector, the government or the planning commission will start now some policies to bring some growth in agricultural sector. Now, what are those? See, I have written a small table I have made for you, which you can able to understand very nicely. What I have written here: measures to promote growth in agricultural sector. And what are those measures, students? Land reform, land sealing, and green revolution. These are the three policies or measures the planning commission has adopted to bring growth in agricultural sector, and growth is the first goal of 5-year plan. So it is necessary to bring growth in agricultural sector. Now, what is this land reform? What I've written here involves change in ownership of land holdings through abolition of intermediaries, and land sealing means the ownership, previously the land is being owned by the landlords, but now after the independence the planning commission has told that no, the ownership will go back to the land, to the tenants or those who are the real owners of the land. Means the ownership is now changing from landlords or the intermediaries to the small tenants or farmers. So farmers are getting back their land due to which policy? This land reform policy. Then again, next policy comes land sealing. What is this land sealing? Land ceiling refers to fixing the specified limit of land which could be owned by an individual. Now, students, there was a situation that some people are having 10 acres of land, some people are having 1 acre of land, or not even 1 acre. Some people are having 5 acre of land, some people are having 2 acre of land. So there is inequality, and a goal of 5-year plan is equity in all respect, I have told. So it should be equalized among all the peoples. So this is the land ceiling. The government fixes every person's land holding, or the limit that the every individual should have land. Beyond that limit, if any worker or if any farmer having land will be taken away by the government, and it will be distributed among those who have none. What I have told, the extra land will be taken from the farmers by the government, and those extra land will be distributed among those farmers who have nothing. This is the main concept of land ceiling, and in this manner equality comes between or among all the farmers. And at last is green revolution. I think you know this word very nicely. It refers to large increase in production of food grains due to use of HYV seeds, high yielding variety of seeds. A new type of seed has came up which will increase the production at a very vast scale. Okay, so one at a time we will now explain what is land reform, what is land ceiling, and what is green revolution from your book. So now land reform. Land reforms primarily refers to change in the ownership of land holdings, which you have heard just now. Land reform measures have been introduced by various underdeveloped and developing countries for attaining a rational and distribution pattern and viable farming structure. There was a great need for land reform in a country like India, where majority of its population still depends on agriculture. Yes, land reform is very much needed because in India majority of people are depending on your agricultural system or agricultural structure. And second, land reforms were needed to achieve the objective of equity in agriculture. What I have told just now, equality or equity, means everyone should have land. It will not be that case that one person is having land, another person is having zero. No, nothing. Then there will be again inequality. So we have to stop that one. And how it will be stopped? By giving land to everyone. Abolition of intermediaries, middlemen. Indian government took various steps to abolish intermediaries and to make tillers the owners of the land. Tillers are another name of farmers. Okay, tiller, tenants are the another name of farmers. The idea behind this step was that ownership of land would give incentive. Okay, would give incentive to the actual tillers to make improvements. Okay, provided sufficient capital was made available to them. The abolition of intermediaries brought 200 lakh tenants into direct contact with the government. No middleman. Intermediary means no, there should be no middleman. The government want to interact with the tenants. Okay, so there should not be no middleman. The ownership rights granted to tenants gave them the incentive to increase output, and this contributed to growth in agriculture. Now, when the farmer sees that they are giving some right or importance, the government is giving some importance, the government itself is telling we will come contact with the farmers directly, means some right are being given to the farmers. Initially, what happens? The incentive or interest to increase the output came out from the farmers. Okay, the farmers got interest. Okay, now the government will come in contact with with us only. So, okay, we will increase some output now. We will provide some growth in agriculture. Okay, this interest have been started grown up in the heart of the farmers or in the mind of the farmers. Next you will come however, the goal of equity was not fully served by abolition of intermediaries because of following reason. Means this goal of equity was not fully done or successful when the intermediaries have been gone out. What are the reason? In some areas, the former zamindars continued to own large areas of land by making use of some loopholes in the legislation. See, the zamindars I have told, even if they have lose their right, but still in some areas, the zamindars were continue with their right by making some loopholes, by making some hiding business. They were not showing or they are not maintaining the right of the zamindars. They are going against the right of the zamindars. Against the right of the government. The zamindars were going against the right of the government. Next, you will see the point. In some areas, cases, tenants were evicted and zamindars claimed to be self-cultivators. What happens? Tenants were evicted means what? They were still being tortured by the zamindars because zamindars were powerful and they continued to cultivate their land. The zamindars were dominating the tenants and they were continuing their right or their work which they were doing during the British rule. And third point, even after getting the ownership of land, the poorest of the agricultural laborers did not benefit from land reform. Even after getting the ownership of land, the poorest of the agricultural laborers did not benefit from land reform. Means those who are very much poor, those farmers, what happened? They cannot able to work properly. They were not benefited nicely from this land reform. So what you can able to tell? This land reform cannot able to solve the goal of equity. Now coming to the next, land ceiling. Land ceiling refers to fixing the specified limit of land which could be owned by an individual. Beyond the specified limit, all lands belonging to a particular person would be taken over by the government and will be allotted to the landless cultivators and small farmers, which I have told just now. The purpose of land ceiling was to reduce the concentration of land ownership in few hands. Land ceiling helped to promote equity in the agricultural sector. Yes, land reform cannot able to maintain this word equity. Land ceiling can able to make equity or maintain this word equity by providing land to every person. Third point, however, The land ceiling legislation was challenged by the big landlords. They delayed its implementation. This delay time was used by them to get the land registered in the name of close relatives, thereby escaping from the legislation. But still there was some problem. What was the problem? When the government coming or going to those farmers that yes, you have large amount of land, you have extra amount of land, give the extra amount of land to us, we will be giving or distributing to those who have no, those who are landless. So what some people were started doing, who wants to lose their land? Nobody wants to lose their asset. So what they have started they're doing, they were started doing registration of the land in the name of their close relative only, in the name of their relative only. Okay, my extra land, keep it with you for some time being, because government is now taking our land. So extra land, you keep it, you have nothing, you keep it. At the when all the situation will be silent, I will take back my land from you. So this was the escaping from the legislation. So this problem was being done by the some landlords or some farmers itself. Now, after this land reform and land sealing, you are coming with new agricultural strategy, green revolution in India. The new agricultural strategy was adopted in India during the third plan, that is during 1960s. The traditional agricultural practice, traditional means the previous agricultural practice, the old agricultural practice followed in India were gradually being replaced by modern technology and agricultural practices. The aim of this strategy was to raise agricultural production and productivity in selected regions of the country through the introduction of modern inputs like fertilizers, credit, marketing facilities, etc. Now I have told the first problem was low productivity. Now how to increase low productivity? How to solve this problem? Low productivity. For this only new agricultural strategy came, green revolution in India. Now what this revolution tells about? It will install, okay, what? New modern inputs like fertilizers, like pesticides. The farmers will be provided with loans, which is credit, marketing facilities, many machines, equipments, okay, all these things which is necessary for a agricultural sector to grow up nicely. This green revolution has thought or has started to provide farmers with all these inputs, modern inputs. And when the farmers started using all these inputs, what happened? There will be an increase in agricultural production and productivity. At the time of independence, about 75% of the country's population was dependent on agriculture. India's agriculture vitally depends on the monsoon, and in the case of shortage of monsoon, the farmers had to face lot of troubles. So what was the problem? Monsoon means rainy season. I have told high dependency on rainfall. So if there is monsoon, okay. If there is no monsoon, so the farmers will face acute problem. Moreover, the productivity in agricultural sector was very low due to use of outdated technology and absence of required infrastructure. And third, as a result of intensive and continued effort of many agricultural scientists, this stagnation in agriculture was permanently broken by the Green Revolution. So all these problems were being broken by this Green Revolution. What it is? Large increase in production of food grains due to use of high yielding variety of seeds. Green Revolution is the spectacular advancement in the field of agriculture. So here comes the introduction of the Green Revolution. From the next class, we will see what are the main reasons for the agricultural revolution, why these HIV seeds has came up, with what fast procedures, how to use these HIV seeds. Then it will be coming how this Indian economy experienced success during using this green revolution. Okay, all these things we will be seeing tomorrow in tomorrow's class. For today, after this much only introduction of green revolution, I will be sending you notes. Okay, thank you.